Movies. They're more than just entertainment. They're a reflection of who we are, a window into different cultures, and sometimes even a force for change. From shaping fashion and language to influencing politics and social movements, films have left a lasting mark on our world. Think about it. How many times have you quoted a famous movie line, dressed up as your favorite movie character, or been inspired by a story on screen? Movies just don't entertain us, they challenge ideas, bring people together, and even shape history. And today, in a world where streaming platforms put thousands of films at our fingertips, their impact is bigger than ever. So, exactly how have movies shaped our culture? And why are they still one of the most powerful forms of storytelling today? Let's dive in and find out. And I want to share with you my experience with my very first short film movie, the do's and don'ts that I would recommend, and how you can be inspired to do the same. This is how I shot my first short film. Hey, how's it? Neil here, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that montage slash monologue. Just trying to do something a little bit different. And in today's video, as you've seen in the intro, we are going to talk about my first short film. Now, let me just preface this by saying that I am no master when it comes to productions or anything like that. I'm just getting my feet wet in this. So take this with a grain of salt. This is just my personal opinion and my advices on how to shoot a short film, what you can expect, the do's and don'ts that I learned on set while doing my own short film, and maybe some of this will be helpful to you. Okay, so obviously we know that the first thing that you should have before even trying to do a short film production is obviously the idea or the script. It's very important to not only just write something out and maybe go over it a few times, but also just think about how it's going to play out visually. Think about not just writing words on paper or typing them into a screenwriting software. Think about visually how that's going to look once you shoot the film and what you want your desired results to be. It all starts with your idea first, and make sure that you do stuff like, mood boards, vision boards, treatments, and stuff like that. Because if you have someone working with you on set, you want to be able to share that ahead of time and actually give them those treatments. So if you got your gaffer, more importantly, or your director of photography, you want them to be able to visualize as well as best as they can what your ideas are, what your vision is for the film or the production. So that way you guys are all on board, and it doesn't hurt to have a pre-production meeting, obviously, so that way you can know and get some feedback from others what they're thinking visually in their mind. Maybe they come up with an idea that you didn't think of, and it can be very helpful, or that's something that you would actually use on your production. Myself, for this short film, I basically just wrote it out myself and shared that with my buddy Jack, who was helping on this particular production. He handled a lot of basically the ins and outs of it, like the kind of like the structuring, the lighting and stuff like that, along with my buddy Lecce. We call him Lecce. His name is Michael Leach. Both of those guys are fantastic guys, and they helped me tremendously on my very first short film, since they do have experience with this type of stuff when it comes to shorts and full features. So definitely share that with your team or whoever that you think is going to be working with you on the production, and just know it takes a village. You cannot do this by yourself. You cannot do a short film by yourself. There's just no way. Between lighting, between audio, between set decoration, or just general help, you need someone and someone's on set with you to help with all of this. And I was blessed to have these guys help me, along with some other folks on the production, and I'll get to that. We'll get there. So obviously, first, you're going to want to have a location picked out or a few locations scouted, depending on what you want your visual and your aesthetic look to be for the short film. You're going to want to have different locations picked out, just in case the one that you really, really want doesn't work out, or something comes up last minute, maybe the week of or something. You have kind of like a default backup to shoot your production in. Very thankfully so, I was able to shoot at this restaurant. It's called Steak and Shake in Greenville, South Carolina. The GM was super awesome. She even stayed there with us to make sure that Everything was fine. We needed what we needed, and she was really accommodating. We had to cut off overhead house lights and segments because they were all on different breakers and stuff like that, so it wouldn't mess with our lighting. And she was just so accommodating, even though the lighting is not supposed to go off in the restaurant even after closing time. So super shout out to her. You are awesome. You know who you are. I don't know if she wants me to mention her name or not, but anyway, she knows who she is. So if you see this video, thank you kindly. So yeah, we use this restaurant, and I like this restaurant just because it gives me like a modern sort of diner type of feel, because we don't have a traditional diner, like those Airstreamer buses or those buildings that are long and they have like silver metallic exterior fronts and stuff like that. So this was the next best thing. So I really appreciated being able to use this after hours. And I was allocated basically 4 to 5 hours to shoot this short, and it still wasn't enough time, and I forgot. Always be mindful and have shot lists, right? Because shot lists are so important. I forgot the intro shot. Basically, I just totally forgot it. So me and Carly, who was one of the actors on this, we had to go back to Steak and Shake, which was no big deal. It took all of like 10 minutes to do this intro opening scene, the first scene that should have been captured at first. But when you are kind of anxious and thinking about things, you want to hurry up and get inside and get set up. Totally forgot the exterior opening shot. So just have a shot list, guys. Make sure you have a shot list so that way you can just go down the list and make sure you get all your shots. And don't rush if you don't have to. Just really try not to rush, because that's where you'll mess up things. And I'll get to that too a little bit later. It wasn't really a rush, but I just knew we had kind of like a time constraint. And we had to be out of there about a certain time. So there's some things that I wish I would have done, and I'll get to that here in a little bit. So next thing I want to kind of just give my experience about is building a team. Again, it takes a village. It's not just a one-man band operation for a short film production. I see now what all goes into a short film. So kind of like getting my grips on doing a full feature, I'm not so sure, because that is such a daunting task. Even doing a short film is a daunting task. Again, I had basically me directing and DPing along with Jack. Had Lecce doing the lighting. I had a hair and makeup artist, the actors obviously. I had my guy Adam Toy doing BTS video, my brother Mac, Jet Visions doing the BTS for photography. Um, and yeah, I think that was about it as far as the crew that assembled. Really kind of like a skeleton crew. I would have loved to have like a first AC, but most of the time we were on sticks anyway, so really didn't need anyone pulling focus. But a first AD just to kind of wrangle everything in would have been nice on set. And I have a guy in mind that I worked with a couple of weeks ago on a production also with Jack. And I'll show you a little clip here of that for a film called Simon Says. He's great. So I think I will definitely use him as a first AD on my next production. And I say all that to say this: you need to assemble a team and people that are skilled in that particular area. Also, I didn't have a sound guy this time. I really wanted to have sound, so that was an issue that I had, because on Carly's microphone, we just did lavs, the Rode Wireless Pros, the same ones I'm using now, does 32-bit internally float audio. Her lav wasn't connected into the mic pack, so that's an issue. I'm almost done with the film. It's in post-production, but the audio has been my hesitation because I know I'm going to have to try to save that, clean that up, VO it, or something like that. So having an audio person, I'm saying that to say this, having an audio person would have kind of mitigated that issue from happening, right? Because you have someone that's dedicated to doing audio and rolling on audio every time you have a shot. So again, audio person, lighting person, first AC if you have to manually pull focus and you're running around with the camera, it's not just on sticks. Director of photography, gaffer, those to me are the most important things. And a first AC, first AD, everyone to keep everyone in line, figure out the sets, moving, maybe going back to one, resetting everyone, stuff like that. You want basically kind of like a general, just basically in control, telling everyone what to do, when to do it. And it's not a bad thing, right? It's not like it's aggressive and being mean or anything. It's just kind of providing that structure on set. So a first AD, I believe, is super important. So just, keep in mind, guys, you just want a team. You want a team of at least those individuals, and you will notice that things will run incredibly more smoother if you have those people in those roles and working on your production. So let's talk about gear, right? On this particular short film, I used the Atlas Mercury 42 millimeter. In retrospect, I wish I would have had a Atlas 72 millimeter, which I have now on this Blackmagic Pixis. Thank you so much, Atlas, for sending that over for use on this short film production. And I use this on another production that I'll talk about later in a future video. But the 42, even though I knew anamorphic had a squeeze, it was more like a 28 millimeter if my equations are right. 42 divided by 1.5, whatever that is. So use the Pixis on there, use the Atlas 42. It was really of a wide shot more of anything, and had to basically put the sticks in and put the camera in a little bit more towards my subject. And I really regret not having at least a 72 or some other focal length that I used that basically gave me a tighter shot, more of a portrait shot with some of the shots that you'll see here, like with them sitting at the table. I wish I've also would have done like an overhead shot over the shoulder, not overhead, over the shoulder shot, and looking at one subject and then switching back to the other. Instead, I had it off to the side. I don't know what I was thinking there. In retrospect, I really wish I would have got that over the shoulder look and had a tighter focal length, because there's so much depth in this restaurant, especially when someone's sitting at a booth and then all the booths behind them. And that's what I was really thinking in my mind and looking for. I just didn't execute it properly. So that's what's kind of a bummer with this. But in retrospect, you always find that, and it's always, hindsight's always 2020. So you realize after the fact what you would have done and what you wish you would have done, and that's just one of the things that I wish I would have done. But as far as the Pixis goes, excellent camera. The Atlas Mercury, excellent lens. I enjoyed using that on the set. Also used the OC Mega 22S as a production monitor, so that way people on set could see what was going on and we could actually see what the frame was looking like, even more, so than just looking at the monitor on the camera. Used the Hollyland Pyro S, which is the HDMI SDMI wireless video transmission kit. Awesome kit. I have a review video coming out about that. Did not let us down. Also used it on the other recent short film project that I talked about that I did with my buddy Jack 2 weeks ago. And it's just a great way to transmit that video over from the camera to that production monitor, or any monitor for that instance, that you have on set that you maybe have for your first AC pull and focus. But in this case, it didn't have one, so I just had it going over to the production monitor. But all in all, really happy with the images that came out with this, besides the shots that I didn't get, what I wish I would have gotten. So, hey, in retrospect, it's a thing that I wish I did, but it prepares me for the future to basically think about my equipment more, think about, again, like I stated in the beginning of the video, how I want that image, or how I want the final result aesthetically, as far as image wise, to look for that production. And just want to take a moment here to talk about the sponsor of today's video, which is Sweetwater. Did you know that Sweetwater actually carries camera equipment, content creation equipment, equipment for podcasting? A lot of folks know Sweetwater for just like musical instruments like guitars, MIDI boards, audio interfaces, and products of that nature. But they carry the cameras that I actually used on the short film. They carry the Pixis along with the Pixis monitor. They also carry the Lumix line of cameras, which I use for BTS. They also carry Sony cameras, which also was used for BTS as well for photo. And if you're in the market for a camera system or anything content creation wise, you should definitely check out Sweetwater. Besides Lumix and Blackmagic products, they have Sony products, DJI products, Shure products. So surely anything, no pun intended, that you may need for your content creation journey. And if you're looking to get a new camera or lens, definitely check out Sweetwater. And the awesome thing about them is if you qualify, you can split almost anything on their site into 6 equal payments. So if you don't have the money to go ahead and buy a camera body or a camera and lens package right up front, you're able, if qualified, to split that into 6 equal monthly payments, making it easier to get the gear that you want now. So definitely give them a try. And thank you, Sweetwater, for being today's sponsor of this video. Link in the description below. So, another thing I would say to think about when you're going into trying to do a short film production is think about the why. Why are you doing it? Is it just a passion project? Are you doing it to possibly submit it to a local, regional, or national festival, film festival, that is? So think about why you're doing it. And you could just be doing it for fun, right? That's the thing. Have fun with it. Don't think too much on it. Don't go in there thinking, oh, I'm going to get on Netflix or I'm going to get on, a festival circuit or something like that. I just personally did this for fun because I wanted to try my hand in it. And I absolutely love movies. I love cinematography. I love storytelling. So that's why I'm going to continue to pursue this and work on other projects, even if they're not my own. So, all in all, just think about why you're doing it. But when you're doing it, just have fun. I mean, it's just hanging out with friends, hanging out with people that you know. And yes, you're creating something cool and it's a story and you want it to be the best that it could possibly be. But let's just be honest, most of us are not Deakins or Nolan or Edgar Wright. So, don't go into it thinking necessarily that it's going to be, just perfect. It's just not. Those guys have years and years and years of experience on productions and doing what they do. So you'll get there. I'll get there. I'll get to a point where I'm happy, really, really happy with what I produce as far as productions or short films and stuff like that. Would I say I'm happy now? Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm happy with the results for my very first short film. Things I would have done differently, of course. I've talked about them in this video, and I can't go back and fix it. So there's no need to cry over spilt milk. I just know how to prepare better, how to utilize and structure better, especially when it comes to gear and stuff like that on the set. And one thing that I didn't talk about that's super important up until now is lighting. Make sure you have lighting. There's something that I wish we also would have done differently. There's pendants that were hanging down. I didn't want to necessarily kill the pendants, but in a couple of shots, that pendant looks awkward. So I wish I would have changed my angle where I'm looking at the subject, like in this clip here, where we're looking at the server, which is Natalie, Natalie Acevedo. She was one of the actors on set. I wish I would have angled that differently because that pendant just looks awkward just standing there. But it did serve a purpose. It was actually keying both of our subjects. So having that as a key light was pretty cool because it was practical, right? It was already there. What I wish I would have done more though is change the angle and keyed with a different light. Like we had all kind of different lights on the set. We had 60-watt lights, 120-watt lights, 300-watt lights, 600 Godox, the no lead Godox, outside striking. So basically, it kind of looked like a side street light going down the building, towards the back in the exterior of the restaurant. But that's what I wish I would have done differently. It's kind of maybe in some shots where it made sense and it didn't look so funky, as you can see in that B-roll there. Maybe would have had just well, definitely would have had a different angle and keyed them with one of the other lights. Even a 60-watt light or 120 through a 2 by or 2 by 3 would have definitely made me feel more like after looking at it in post that the subjects would have popped more by having that light on them because it's just better light than say just a pendant. And instead of just being okay with, oh well, that pendant is keying both of them, I wish I would have just added additional light to give them that pop and give it a little bit more separation on the image. So again, no need to cry over spilt milk. Just know for next time that's what I need to do and want to do. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this. I hope it's helpful or useful to some folks. I'll be doing more productions, and I just wanted to go kind of on a rant and just share my experience about my first short film. It was awesome. I want to continue to do it. It's always great to have good help. So I thank everybody that was a part of it. Normac Jets with Jet Visions for BTS Photo, Adam Toy for BTS Video, Michael Leach, aka Leche, for helping out with grip and gaffing, Jack Bynum for basically helping out with directing. I did basically the DPing myself. Allie Mitchell Craig, as far as the hair and makeup. My buddy Hunter came down to be the stand in for the boyfriend. That's actually, well, you'll see. I don't want to give it away. In the short film, he was in it. Very silent role, and he's basically just staying stiff at the booth behind Carly. So Carly Driver as an actor, Natalie Acevedo as the other actor. She played the server. Carly played the girlfriend. So thank you to everyone, including the GM at Steak and Shake, for letting this happen. And I'm ever so grateful to have a good team and people that I will use continuously and moving forward for future projects. And it's all about networking, guys. You got to network with people in your area that are doing this type of stuff, whether they're just lighting or hair and makeup, audio, gaffing, grip, first AC, first AD, director, director of photography. If you're not going to shoot it yourself, it's very important to assemble a team. I can't stress that enough. You can always get locations. You can always get actors. Just depends on what you're looking for and their type of skill set and cadence and just overall performance. But assembling a team to actually do the production, I say that's probably the most important thing before you even get started. So just keep that in mind. Network with people in your area. Go to, these groups. Like there's a group in Greenville called Film Bar, which I promise I'm going to make it to, guys. But I am participating in the Facebook group. But they also have in-person meetups. So if you have something like that in your area, definitely check that out because it can be useful. It can be really useful. That's the only way that I've met the people that I've met to be able to, do these productions with and have them on mine. So it's an awesome thing just to build a team. Make sure you do that. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Just a big long rant. Just wanted to share my experience. And if anything, let me know. If you're working on something short film wise, feature film wise, I would generally like to know, genuinely like to know what you're working on. Like, what are your passions? Like, what are your projects that you're doing? What kind of gear you're using? And what are you thinking of? If you have any questions for me, again, not a master at this at all. I am a novice. I am a baby filmmaker at best, but I just wanted to share my experience with you. And hopefully this didn't run too long. So until the next time, until the next production, be kind, be creative, love each other more than anything because the world kind of sucks right now and we need all the care that we can. Just be nice. That's all it is. It doesn't cost you anything to be nice. And all right, until next time, you guys take care, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one.